Hey there, friendly readers. Welcome back to Storytime. As always, I'm your ever-deductive host, Story J. Now today, we've got a new virtual field trip, and one classic story, and one new Whoa, Thordilocks, lower your voice. No, I mean, you know what? Don't worry about it. Just tell me what's the matter. What's that?
It sounds like squirrels.
No, Batsy, I mean, what's he saying?
I lost my Mjölnir.
Oh, I think he means his hammer. Which, by the way, I never approved of having it here. I'm not sure how you got by with having that in class all this time. It's okay.
It's not just a hammer. It's my favorite things all in one. It's everything. It's the Milky Way, my lifesaver. I really want it.
I think I know somebody who can help. Two somebodies. Come with me, buddy. Hey, Tom.
Hey there, Story J.
Second floor, please.
You got it.
So how's the family these days, man?
Lucy's good. Gramps is always.
Well, tell your cousin hey for me.
Will do.
Story J. He was little.
Oh, so you know him. What?
And now it's time for a brand new episode of Rosie V Franklin and Mystery Munroe.
Who is it that calls me by my first name, but also my middle initial and last name?
Fifth graders.
Story J.
Rosie V.
We knew you'd come walking back into this corner sooner or later.
Well, being it's in my library, Mystery, yeah.
What can we do for you?
Well, first, y'all can take that logo down that does not belong in here. I bumped my head on it. Second.
Sorry.
Okay,
That's fair.
Yep, yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Second. Fluke, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be in choir practice, man.
Ooh.
So, Thordilocks here has a problem. He's lost his Mjölnir.
Uh-huh. Question. What's a Mjölnir? Is that like an e-dog or a fidget cube?
It looks like a hammer, but
Aha. Norse. Looks like a mallet, 9 by 5 by 9 measurements. Sound right?
yeah, that's it.
What are you doing with a hammer, kid?
Story J?
You're in good hands, Thordilocks. Girls, y'all got this. I'm gonna head out.
Looks like this is a case of the missing Looks like a hammer heist mystery.
Don't you worry, kiddo. We'll get it back to you. Our names aren't.
Rosie V Franklin and Miss.
Look.
So sorry.
So let's retrace your steps. Where were you last looking for it?
At the water fountain.
And then?
Then before that, I was in the playground. And before that, the cafeteria.
That's 3 places. This might take a minute.
This reminds me of the case of the missing numbers.
Or when 7, 8, 9.
789. Written by Tara Lazar and illustrated by Ross McDonald. I was dozing in my chair when an urgent banging on my office door bolted me awake. It was 6. Something that scared the pants off of him.
7 is coming to get me,
Said 6. As a private eye, I'm used to his type. Numbers. They're always stuck in a problem. But I knew this 7 fella. He was odd. Take it easy, 6, I said. What's 7 up to?
Well, word on the street is that 789. And now he's after me,
Said 6. Well, technically he's always after you, I said. There's 5, then 6, then 7.
Well, see, that proves it.
I told 6 not to panic. Stay here. I'll get to the root of this.
I hope so,
said 6.
I fear my days are numbered.
First, I went looking for 8. She's usually caught between 7 and 9. I found her at the corner of 2nd Avenue and 4th Street. But 8 knew nothing. Nada. Zilch.
If it's true,
8 said.
I'm next in line.
In a flash, she took off her belt. Now, 8 looked just like 0. Good disguise. I needed a solid lead. I strolled into Cafe Uno, leaned on the counter, and ordered a slice of pie. B, the waitress, had the scoop. Yeah, I heard 7, 8, and 9, she said. So you haven't seen 9 around? Negative, said B. He just disappeared. So 9 was gone. I couldn't let 7 be the one who got away. But I needed more data. I went to see 11. She and 7 are like 2 peas in a pod. 7 couldn't have done it, said 11. He's on vacation. Are you sure? I prodded. I'm positive. I saw him leave. But if 7 was gone, then where was 9? It didn't add up. Frustrated, I headed back uptown. That's when I saw him crossing the street. Finally, I put 2 and 2 together. I had to get back to the office. On the double, I told the driver. I busted through my office door and found 6 taking 40 winks. I have solved this numerical nonsense, I cried. I grabbed 6 and turned him upside down. His true color was revealed. Just as I suspected, my client, 6, was really 9. You had everyone worried, 9, I said. Why did you say that 7, 8, 9?
Oh, because 7 gets all the attention. Lucky 7. 7 wonders of the world. Snow White and the 7 dwarfs.
Figures. 9 felt like he didn't measure up.
7, 7, 7. It's like I don't exist. Folks hurry right past me on their way to 10. Don't even get me started on 10. Everyone thinks he's perfect.
I zeroed in on 9. Are you kidding? You should be on cloud 9 right now. Happy as can be, the whole 9 yards. How come? Asked 9. Because you've got 9 lives. That's when 11 showed up.
Look who's back,
she said. It was 7. Stammered 9. No hard feelings, 7, old pal? Sure. Let's not be divided, 7 said. 7 seemed awfully pleased for a number who had been framed. Why so happy, 7? I asked. I just sailed the 7 seas. I'm in 7th heaven. At last, everyone was back in order. And now I could take my letter cases again. Letters are wordy at times, but they are A-OK in my book. The next day, while dozing in my chair, my phone bolted me awake. I'd recognize her voice anywhere. It was 2, with another problem to solve. I've really got to change my number.
So, kid, you were in the cafeteria, eating your lunch, minding your own business, having a cookie.
Actually, it was an animal cracker.
Okay, so there you were eating your 1 animal cracker. And where were you before that?
Retrace those steps and think back, Thordilocks.
Then I was at the school snack shop.
I'm sorry, did you say snack shop?
I would love an overpriced microwave pizza right now.
Did you look there yet?
Well, no, but...
Let's go, young man.
But wait, I had it before that.
Oh.
Well, before that, we had a field trip to see how donuts were made.
Come to think of it, I'm kind of curious myself.
Time to make the donut. The donut, the donut, the donut, the donut.
They find my Mjölnir.
I'm sure they will, but in the meantime, I think I know something that'll make you feel a little better.
What's that?
It's an animated short by Euka Matsuo called Come Out and Play. Want to see?
Sure.
Film, please.
Got anything, Mystery?
I got nothing, Rosie V.
Okay, so we know it's not at the donut shop.
And after that, he went to the snack shop.
Then the cafeteria.
Then the playground. Then the water fountain.
Which is where he was last looking for it after he realized it was gone.
Last place he said he remembered it was the cafeteria. I mean, how hard is it to spot a hammer in a cafeteria?
But what if a hammer's not a hammer? Like an upside-down 6-turn-9, appearances can be misleading.
And that thing you're looking for
might be right under our noses all along. I think we just cracked our case, Mystery. This one reminds me of file number 29, the classic case of the missing teacher, also known as Miss Nelson is Missing.
Miss Nelson is Missing. Written by Harry Allard. Illustrated by James Marshall. The kids in room 207 were misbehaving again. Spitballs stuck to the ceiling. Paper planes whizzed through the air. They were the worst behaved class in the whole school. "Now, settle down," said Miss Nelson in a sweet voice. But the class would not settle down. They whispered and giggled. They squirmed and made faces. They were even rude during story hour. And they always refused to do their lessons. "Something will have to be done," said Miss Nelson. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school. "Wow!" yelled the kids. "Now we can really act up." They began to make more spitballs and paper planes. "Today, let's just be terrible," they said. "Not so fast," hissed an unpleasant voice. A woman in an ugly black dress stood before them. "I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp." And she rapped the desk with her ruler. "Where is Miss Nelson?" "Never mind that," snapped Miss Swamp. "Open those arithmetic books." Miss Nelson's kids did as they were told. They could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business. Right away, she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. "We'll have no story hour today," said Miss Swamp. "Keep your mouth shut," said Miss Swamp. "Sit perfectly still," said Miss Swamp. "And if you misbehave, you'll be sorry," said Miss Swamp. The kids in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by and there was no sign of Miss Nelson. The kids missed Miss Nelson. "Maybe we should try to find her," they said. Some of them went to the police. Detective McSmog was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. He said. "I think Miss Nelson is missing." Detective McSmog would not be much help. Other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn, and no one answered the door. In fact, the only person they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. "If she sees us, she'll give us more homework." They got away just in time. "Maybe something terrible happened to Miss Nelson. Maybe she was gobbled up by a shark," said one of the kids. But that didn't seem likely. "Maybe Miss Nelson went to Mars," said another kid. But that didn't seem likely either. "I know," exclaimed one know-it-all. "Maybe Miss Nelson's car was carried off by a swarm of angry butterflies." But that was the least likely of all. The kids in room 207 became very discouraged. It seemed that Miss Nelson was never coming back, and they would be stuck with Miss Viola's swamp forever. They heard footsteps in the hall. "Here comes the witch," they whispered. "Hello, children," someone said in a sweet voice. It was Miss Nelson. "Did you miss me?" she asked. "We certainly did," cried all the kids. "Where were you?" "That's my little secret," said Miss Nelson. "How about a story hour?" "Oh, yes!" cried the kids. Miss Nelson noticed that during story hour, no one was rude or silly. "What brought about this lovely change?" she asked. "That's our little secret," said the kids. Back home, Miss Nelson took off her coat and hung it in the closet, right next to an ugly black dress. When it was time for bed, she sang a little song. I'll never tell. P.S. Detective McSmog is working on a new case. He is now looking for Miss Viola's swamp.
Ah, the city. When detective movies were a dime and Twitter was just a bird's call. But unlike the remade Disney movies, life wasn't exactly like that. Not every person was invited to the table of artists, mainly due to the color of their skin, and even less so if you weren't one of the boys. Enter Miss Jackie Ormes. Jackie Ormes was born Zelda Maven Jackson in Pittsburgh, 1911. She loved art from an early age, publishing her first comics in her school's yearbooks. While Jackie was still in high school, she got a job reporting for the Pittsburgh Courier, a major black-owned newspaper. This would lead to her start as a cartoonist. Ormes' first strip, Torchy Brown and Dixie to Harlem, was a comic look at the life of a Mississippi teenager who travels to New York and becomes a star at Harlem's Cotton Club. Torchy's journey from the South reflected the lives of many African Americans who moved north during the Great Migration, while also celebrating the success of African Americans. And it was through Torchy Brown that Ormes became the first black female cartoonist and the first African American woman to produce a nationally syndicated comic strip in a black newspaper. By August 1945, Ormes created a new cartoon, Patty Jo and Ginger, a popular single-panel comic about two sisters, with the incredibly insightful wisecracking kid sister Patty Jo, and the unaware grown-up and often silent sister Ginger. Patty Jo became so popular that a Patty Jo doll, one of the first realistic black dolls made for the African-American market, was produced in 1947. The Patty Jo doll was on the shelves in time for Christmas faster than you can say Cabbage Patch, and it was also the first American black doll to have an extensive upgrade wardrobe. By 1950, the Courier began an 8-page color comics insert, where Ormes rebooted Torchy in the new comic strip, Torchy and Heartbeats. This new Torchy was brave, independent, and adventurous. Jackie Ormes retired from cartooning in 1956. Although she continued collecting dolls, creating art, until rheumatoid arthritis made this impossible, that didn't stop her legacy from paving the way for others like Barbara Brandon Croft, creator of Where I'm Coming From, making her the first black female cartoonist to nationally be syndicated in the mainstream press. Or Brenda Banks, who became known as the first black woman in animation. Ormes' creations not only broke barriers, they also began a framework for young black girls back then and paved the way for the next powerful generation of black women in the future. And that's just 2 minutes of a real black superhero history lesson.
And now the conclusion to Rosie V. Franklin and Mystery Munroe.
Luke.
Sorry. You found it!
It was really simple once we knew what we were looking for. Thordi actually tried to tell us in the beginning, but we weren't listening.
Thank you.
Our first clue was that he said he had it at the cafeteria.
But didn't remember having it after.
Next, he said he had it before lunch at the snack shop.
And why would you need a hammer at a snack shop?
Except when a hammer's not a hammer.
And when a hammer's not a hammer, a Mjölnir must be...
His lunchbox. Well, I'll be. Good critical thinking skills, girls.
See, Story J? I tried to tell you. I even said that it has all my favorite things. My Milky Way, my Lifesaver, my Wonka Bar, butter coffee cake, my pizza thins.
Alright.
My Chef Fun Burger.
Alright already. Give me a chance to apologize, please. Thordilocks, I'm sorry. I was wrong about your lunchbox. And you might want to check the expiration date on those pizza thins.
Well, you see, Story J, technically it's your fault. Because in the original story, you failed to mention that I was actually on my way to lunch.
Or like how I was out and about without a care in my story. I think you should retell that someday.
Yeah. Reboot.
Isn't it time for you to tell the audience to be good, be nice?
Be nice enough to know not to mess with your teacher like that.
I never said it wasn't a lunchbox.
I thought it was a toy hammer. I didn't. I'll see y'all next time. I thought it was a toy. Hey, friendly readers, if you like what you see, please hit like and subscribe. And if you're feeling generous, just click on the button where you can donate, and then you can contribute to produce more things like read-alouds, drawing tutorials, virtual field trips, cartoons, and more. Just go to StoryJ Storytime, and I'll see you next time.